everyone, it's GT time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hello, everybody.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Kyle nervously laughing.
In the super seat this week, Matthew Blair.
Me nervously laughing.
And making this all happen, no nervous laughter, Ian Hink.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Whoa, look at those lights.
Look at this new mixer.
It's
It's
so
awesome.
fancy.
It looks like things are happening back there, Ian.
Watch this. I showed this on GT Live last night, but it moves as if possessed by demons.
Ian, does this new mixer benefit the listener at all?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah?
So the listener may have noticed in the previous 60, 70 episodes of this show.
I think we're in the 80s.
80s. Wow. In the previous 80 episodes where there was constant clipping, where like it gets pinched at the top and sounds like it's peaking, that was because our old mixing board, which they finally took out of here entirely, was very bad.
Cool.
It was a Zoom, very cheap, not good, and it would peak all the time. This is a phenomenally impressive board that has we're even pre-limiters and compressors right now, and it sounds phenomenal.
It does sound very good.
Someone could just yell into the mic right now, and it probably
don't
wouldn't peak.
do that.
Yeah, don't.
We'll get there. There's a segment.
could,
There's
yeah.
a segment where I typically have to yell out the title, so I mean,
Sure.
we'll get there.
And next time we have Huber on the show.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, I love it. It's wonderful.
Cool. I like sounding good. Matt Blair.
Hi.
You were in the super seat, so of course we have a question for you.
You have a
Oh,
question.
yeah.
We don't have a question. We didn't have a council on this question. Blood and I are sitting here now wondering, what on earth is this silly question going to be?
Every
No, we know this question.
every 2 months.
It's a new one, though.
It's no. Matt
it's
Blair's the
not.
final to answer this
I
question.
used to be the new one, but I answered for you because we had Davis on the show.
Yeah.
And so Davis was technically this a guest, and then I was the super seat or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. Did I actually bet on his behalf that week? I don't remember how this worked.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's right, because I went way over on something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
he tried to.
Can I put a rule never to have Ben fill my seat ever?
Yeah, you can do that.
Because he threw me under the bus for that bet one time.
No,
and
just-
I can't forgive that.
Just stop going to cool events and come to work.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That isn't work.
Matt Blair, the aliens have invaded.
Oh, of course.
One alien has gone rogue, though, and it's holding a lightsaber and a Tron disc. It says, "Hey, buddy, I'm here to help. Take one of my weapons." Which do you take?
Oh, come on.
Which do you
Lightsaber.
take?
Lightsaber, obviously.
Why is it obvious?
It really?
Yeah.
It's so much cooler. It's so much cooler.
But this is about survival, Blair. It's not about being cool. You're about surviving out there.
don't tell
All
me
right,
what it's
no,
about.
no.
Sure.
Trust me. If somebody walks up to me and offers me one of those two things and I take the
Yeah.
Tron disc, please fucking kill me. With a lightsaber.
So aggressive.
I love
It's
that.
just so simple. This
I love that
idea.
nobody walks into this knowing the question.
Yeah.
People don't watch the show.
Yeah, they don't watch the show. Don't talk about it afterwards.
Oh, God, that's funny. Okay.
They have a lot of respect for that question. You know?
Like a frisbee with sharp edges or one of the coolest weapons in sci-fi history. Come on.
Yeah. Also, the important distinction or the important detail that only one person asked is that they only get the Tron disc. They don't get the glove. So
No,
you're
it
just gonna
works.
cut your hand
No,
off.
it won't cut your hand. It won't cut your
You
hand.
said in 4 or 5 episodes ago,
Check
whenever
the
that was.
check the tape.
Somebody go check the tapes, because he said you just get the disc.
Here's the thing, though. When
Whoa.
Elise got the Tron disc, and she used it later on to find a secret cave that had a Tron bike inside of it. So you got to
She
think
did?
of Yeah. She
Okay.
she planted it into the wall and
Does the
turned
disc
it.
have magical powers that lead you somewhere or something? Or can I just go to that cave and open it with my lightsaber?
You could probably, honestly, you can, and you do. You see the cave, you think it's a little suspicious, and you do cut a hole in it with the lightsaber and find a Tron bike in there.
Right.
But can
And
you use
there's
it?
a Matt Blair in there dressed up as Darth Vader.
But do you need an identity disc
I like that.
to run the bike?
So this actually, I guess you do in the movies, not in this scenario.
Oh, okay.
This is real life.
I got to know though. Would you go lightsaber? Would you go lightsaber?
I think so. But I mean, as somebody mentioned before, either one of these things is going to cut your hand off, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna die anyway. I'm gonna die.
I'd go
wielding a
lightsaber.
lightsaber.
For sure.
Every kid, no, not every kid, but most kids probably have some form of their self lightsaber training, right? What do you with?
You know,
have a
I've done
little tube.
lightsaber training on the beach once for
Yeah,
a retreat.
yeah.
So
What? What?
Licensed, legitimate lightsaber training?
not I wouldn't say licensed, legitimate, or anything like that, but somebody that that does it as a hobbyist.
That's awesome.
That is very cool. So this actually, this is great that we're having this discussion, because here's what happened. Huber last night was talking to me. He said there's a NeoGAF thread about no-nonsense podcasts, and everyone's talking about their favorite no-nonsense podcasts. GT Time was brought up a lot, but they say skip past the question in the beginning. It sucks.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand that perspective. So here's what I want you, people who comment on the show. Any comment you write, please write your normal comment. But at the bottom of that comment, please write kill question or save question. I want to know if you want us to keep doing that segment or not.
What about
Do we
moving
get
it
to vote?
like, to the back or something?
It doesn't make sense to move it to the back. I wouldn't.
It's an intro to the
Yeah.
super
To the
seat.
person,
Yeah,
to who's in the
that's
super
true.
seat. So yeah, if you want us to kill it, we'll kill it. So please, any comment you write, please end it with kill comment or save comment. At the time, I don't think you can comment on our website, but you absolutely can on YouTube.
Yeah, we're in progress. We also did launch like kind of a quote new website. Since the
sure.
last
We haven't really
podcast.
talked about
new
that.
website. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
a new
a new
website.
website.
So the reason I say that is because it's kind of under construction, right?
Yeah.
Like we're calling it GT Early Access because haha funny, but to keep a very long story short, we do have an FAQ up on the website, and you can find it. Hopefully, I'll get a promo up on like the homepage so you can click on it. But also if you follow us on Twitter or Facebook, you may have already seen it. But anyways, there are a lot of just missing parts, and some videos are gone or they're going to come back. There's a lot of work to be done yet. And the reason why it came back so kind of broken-ish is just because porting it over from the system that Viacom had is a huge, huge beast. I'm not going to say that the system from Viacom was the most efficient ever, right? So it's a really, really tall order for a smaller tech team. Most tech teams are actually pretty small. So it's a super tall order for them to be able to just bring everything over flawlessly.
Well, imagine
and
like living in a
work that
house
way.
for 10 years and you move and your friend
Exactly.
stops by like 6 days after you move to a new house and is like, you haven't put up pictures yet? And you're like, no, I'm still getting like packages and stuff. No.
Actually,
it's
that
like the
literally
comment
happened to
section
us
in your
with
living
the
room doesn't
bullpen. They're like,
Yeah.
man, that place looks really barren. It's like they haven't done anything in there. They still have
Right.
boxes.
Yeah.
So,
That stuff
and
is
it's the
still in
holidays,
a pile
so-
on the ground.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's where we are, and so we're still working out some of the kinks. Long form videos such as GT Time, it took us a little while to figure out how best to get them on the website again, because the encoding and all that stuff is different. So moving to a different system, there are a lot of kind of things to work out.
Yeah,
before
I mean-
things
I
work
have,
smoothly.
I have a suggestion really fast.
Yeah.
Since you can't comment on the site, if you watch it on the site, just tweet kill or save at BenMoore035, and then
He'll
we'll
get the
collect
point.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
collect
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start corrections. Ian, are you leaving your mic on?
I did for most of that rant
Okay.
about the website because
You-
I was trying to say that joke about Ben Moore.
Oh, okay. It was worth it. I just hate
yeah.
the noise of that room.
Oh yeah, I can turn it up even louder. If you
Okay,
want.
let's begin corrections music, please. General Grievous uses a lightsaber in episode 3, and he is not a Force user.
Oh,
He
yeah.
uses like 5 lightsabers.
Yeah.
That's right.
Four?
Yeah,
He
right.
uses 4. He's got 4 arms.
Good point. Totally.
Yeah. So
Wait, that
Han
was it.
Solo is not that special.
But how advanced is his AI or whatever going on?
He's a living being. He's got a brain, man.
Clear difference between those two characters.
Cyborg.
Wait.
Han was never trained in the saber. No one ever showed Han how to use a saber.
No one showed General Grievous how to use a saber. Actually, someone did.
Are you nuts?
Yeah.
That's actually
He was
canon.
Dooku's
yeah.
pet
Okay.
project for years.
Right.
You know? Just like, "Mwah, my little robot." He probably went through like so many different phases of just like.
Also-
like that morning, Dooku woke up and was like 4 arms. You know, like that was a big day for him. Like,
Tack those on. Also, Omar pointed something out that I'd forgotten.
Sure.
They mentioned the Clone Wars in the original trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
do.
oh yeah.
I forgot all about
Yes.
that.
In,
I'm
in
like,
the
whoa.
first Star Wars film ever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
was one of Obi-Wan's first lines of dialogue.
Seemed way
It's
cooler
like, oh,
back
you
then.
fought in the Clone Wars?
Luke asks him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke says, you fought in the Clone Wars?
Mace Windu was the first character Lucas ever created.
Wow.
Allegedly, there's like a
Wow,
really, it's
yeah.
like a scribbly piece of paper. It says Mace Windu in the
Mace
Star Wars. Or something.
Windu.
So
It's just
he's
a cool
always
word.
been
I
out
just
of
love
his
that
mind.
name. Yeah.
The scores were incorrect at the end of last week's episode.
Weird.
What should they be?
Okay, they should be currently Super Seat 15, Blood 15, Jones 7, Bossman 11.
All right.
Okay. And then finally, the correction of the week. This comes from Gaming Groove. We talked about how in Twilight Princess on the Wii, Ian, is it possible to turn down the corrections music?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so
yes, hang on.
we were
but
making-
it'll happen for them too.
Okay, great, because it's super loud right now.
Great.
So when Twilight Princess on the Wii, they flipped Link, and I was making fun of how they just didn't flip the character model. Gaming Groove brings up if they just flip Link's character model without flipping the world, all of his animations for interacting with the world suddenly don't work. Think about grabbing a doorknob. If Link's animation isn't modified, he reaches forward and grabs at the wrong side of the door, everything would change. And so actually, it's less lazy of a solution than I thought it was. So I appreciate that correction.
Well, I mean,
I'm
it's still
curious
lazy.
though if that. Yeah, I want to see the doors now. Because I'm like, did they actually put the doorknob on the left?
Most of them didn't have doorknobs, really.
Oh,
I mean, if you're talking about like Ocarina of Time, I'm assuming, or
No, we're talking about Twilight Princess
I
specifically.
think that might be where like he holds the doors. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And
Well-
then slides them out of the way.
You just walk up to the door and hit a button,
So-
right? It doesn't matter what side it's on.
Something in a village where there is a doorknob, yes, you'll grab it and swing and then
Yeah,
walk in.
yeah.
Most of them in dungeons and stuff, you like push them and they slide up or something like
So
that.
it could create all these problems if
Yeah.
they just flip the character model itself. And corrections music. Ian, is your mic still on?
No, you freak.
Yeah, I just heard a pen drop in there.
We can hear
I
it.
hit a button real
no, I
hard.
can definitely
Okay.
hear the mixer huffing away.
Yeah, here, listen. Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small room. I don't know what to tell you.
Nobody wants that sound.
Nobody wants that.
They probably can't hear it as well as you can.
There's no way to know.
We
All right.
watch the video, but yeah.
We have a tiny update on a story that we discussed on the show. Indivisible, the Indiegogo campaign, actually met its goal this week, and I want to talk about that for a second.
This is where you switch to the card, Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
This is where you hit the button and it goes to the thing.
Listeners would not even
on the
know.
television.
Listeners don't know. There's no cards today.
We got to ruin it for everybody, Kyle. It's equal opportunity.
Absolutely. So that's huge to me. That got to $1.5 million when I thought there was no way that it would.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, and
On
they asked for
Kickstarter.
that from the top. They didn't ask for 200,000 and then do
Yeah.
stretch goals. They asked for their 1.5 million. And so, panel, I guess I just want to know what you think helped the most. Do you think it was the PS4 and PC demos? Do you think it was all the weird indie guest characters? Do you think that was a factor, or just being around for 20 extra days? Was that the reason why it got to its goal on the last day?
I think that they did a real push because before we talked about it, I didn't know anything about Indivisible. I hadn't heard about it. Since then, I just keep seeing like my Twitter feed and everything. There's like everyone's talking about it. There was just a lot more push behind that last time period. So I just think they stepped up their game.
What do you mean by stepped up their game? How do you get people to tweet about your Indiegogo campaign?
Maybe make it look like it's not going to happen.
That's that same musical.
That's a good but do you think that's part of it? Because that was what got us talking about it. It's just like, look, it's a cool game and it's not going to make it. That's why it got on GT time.
Yeah. I think that just that extra buying themselves more time, more or less, is like was what they needed. For people to realize like, oh yeah, this wouldn't have made it without this extra time. So let's make this extra time matter.
The funniest thing to me about Indivisible is, yeah, it was being discussed a lot, and I mean, maybe this was not your experience, but my experience was literally the only discussion ever about this was, oh, it's never going to make that goal. They're crazy to ask for what it actually costs. Like,
Yeah.
it's never like, that game's actually really cool. Like, I played the demo, actually. At first, I've never before have I outright hated a combat system, and then by the end of the demo, thought it was awesome.
Sure.
It really flipped me on that one. Because at first with one person, I'm like, I'm pushing one button. This is ridiculous. And then with 4 people, I'm like, oh, this is insane. It's actually pretty cool.
Can you describe it quickly to a listener who's not tried the demo?
So each character is assigned to a button on the right side. So like circle, square, triangle, X.
Yeah.
And you hit I don't remember entirely, but like you hit like a direction and one of the buttons, and they can do a different attack. So like up and their button makes them do this attack, or down and their button makes them do this attack, or right and their button does that attack. And if you hold R1 or L, if you hold R1, I think you can make people do combo attacks. But if you hold L1, everyone blocks. And if they're being attacked and you hit that character's button, just they'll block. And you have like stamina that you need the stamina to do your special moves, which are basically how you beat bosses. But if you block, it eats up that special move stamina.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like mixing fighting game mechanics with Paper Mario RPG. It's pretty cool stuff. It's a very unique combat system.
Or like
it's hard.
Sabin
What is that?
from Final Fantasy VI.
Oh yeah, sure.
Was that Sabine?
Nobody
said
says
Sabin,
it the same way, so I don't know.
Sabine?
Yeah.
Sabin is what I always say.
Whoa. None of us know.
Heard Sabin.
I like Sabine. So here's what's going on for this week. I gotta alert everyone who is expecting a big GT time about everything that was just announced at the Game Awards and everything that just was announced at PSX. We are recording it before those two events have happened. And so, it's hard for me because there are so many stories out there about trademarks, like Ninja Turtles trademark, patents, rumors, things that I normally love to talk about on GT Time. I don't want to talk about this week because those things are going to happen.
Shaq was teasing Shaq Fu.
Yeah, so there's going to be everyone who's listening to this has already seen Shaq Fu, and so I don't like listening to people guess about things that we already know about. It makes it a really strange one-way direction. Sure. Where I like to think when we're guessing about things, we're doing it with you, the audience.
It's like a time capsule.
Yeah. What was funny though is because we were talking about, people were asking, whether we would do reactions, but it's no, there's too many of us out to do reactions to PSX. So somebody, jokingly suggested that we should pre-record our reactions to the announcements, and they'd put together what everybody's reactions would be to certain things, and it was hilariously accurate.
Yeah, we're just little robots, little
Ben and
robots.
Hubert's reaction to anything is just,
Yeah.
No. I think what they put for Ben was holy crap, did you see that Persona 5 logo on that montage?
Yeah.
We're just predictable little algorithms. So what I want to do with this week's episode is we can still guess about things in the future. I want to talk about the first 3 months of 2016 because they're big. They're very big months. There's a lot of stuff coming up. I actually intended to do this last week when we talked about Deus Ex getting delayed, and we didn't have time to really get to this, but I want to dig into this week because there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about at the beginning of 2016. This is a 2016 preview, essentially. One thing I liked a lot that we did in the summer was do a fall preview, and we talked about each game individually, how we think it's going to go, and then we also did a thing where we called them candidates for delays. I think we have some candidates for delays in this list, and so I want to kind of nominate some of those too. So are we down for that?
For more delays? Because almost all of these have been delayed.
Already?
So,
Yeah.
So you're saying these the candidates that'll get delayed again?
Again, yes.
Okay.
Cool. We're in. Let's start thinking about 2016. Because everybody, there are only 2 more episodes after this of GT Time. We're wrapping up this year.
Canceling the show outright. Just done.
Of the year. 2 more 2015 episodes after this one. Okay, so let's talk about January. January 2016, we're here. Amplitude is coming out in January, but with no release date necessarily, so we're talking about that first. So that's Harmonix. They crowdfunded this game. It will only come to PlayStation platforms. It's only coming to PS4 in January, PS3 later. But that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So they had it crowdfunded. They had to get help with it, but it's still owned by Sony, Amplitude, and so that's why it's only coming out on that platform.
Yeah, it's weird with digital games like that because you never seem to know. They put these target windows on them, and then they don't give you a specific date.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know whether that one will be delayed or not.
No, I don't want to do... The discussion today will not be about delays primarily.
Oh, okay.
That game's not getting delayed. That's coming out in January. I guess I want to talk about, Harmonix is in a weird spot right now. Do you know what I mean? They've had a couple of Fantasia Connect games. It feels like that way. You know what I mean? I think Rock Band has done well, but I just feel like they might be in a weird spot right now, and I'm hoping this is a success for them.
How good does Dance Central still do? That was huge. That was the biggest
Still
Connect game ever, right?
There is no Dance Central game this year.
Yeah,
Right,
I think Just Dance kind of took over that.
Yeah. Just Dance had a couple of games come out this year.
Yeah, so it's been weird to see Harmonix kind of stumble and I hope this is a huge success. I hope this is huge.
I don't know about huge, but I'm excited about it, and it's great. I mean, I played it at PSX actually, of all things. Played at PSX last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
Hold on. What is taking Amplitude so long?
Just maybe Rock Band. Maybe it was just not like their
Okay.
their frontline thing.
That makes sense to me, actually.
But yeah, and it was actually really interesting because I was there with the team and like they were talking while it was happening, where they were just like, yeah, I don't like that, and this is not like they were like developing it while I was playing it. So I think it was just like what we were playing was just like very early build.
Wait, can you give us an example of a thing they said I don't like that?
I think it was specifically like how much like things would curve, like how, because like
Amplitude is a game
like
where
where you're going. I mean, it's like Rock Band where you're going down, or Guitar Hero where you're going down a highway, but the highways in those games are just like straightforward.
And you're a spaceship.
Whereas we're in Amplitude, like they curve and go up and down and move around, and like the environment really changes like as you're going forward. You're a little spaceship like flying around. And it's just all about response time. Like it's not like, oh, you're a hero, so you do star power and stuff. Like it's all buttons. Like it's the kind of game where like my brain just kind of gives up and lets my fingers do it. It's like I like the amount of time it would take to send an electrode to my fingers is too much time. Like the fingers just got to do it.
And a year ago at PSX, the roads were too curvy.
It was something about the speed and just kind of like how far in the distance you could see of stuff approaching that they were like, yeah, we're gonna tweak that.
That's pretty
This
cool.
is not, we're gonna make that more visible. It's like, I don't know.
Later in January, on the 20th, January is actually a light month. I was talking up 2016. It looks to be maybe.
I'm not reviewing any of these games. I'm looking at this list like, all right, I get to take the first 3 months off.
I haven't made those assignments. I don't know.
You're telling me you're not going to review Mario and Luigi Paper Jam for January 22nd?
There's one game on that list I think I'll probably review.
Okay. Why not Mario and Luigi Paper Jam?
Because I haven't played any. What series is that in? Like, what are the games that led up to Paper Jam?
Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, there's Mario and Luigi series, and
It's
then
like
there's
Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story and
Yeah.
Well, if you
How
judge
many of
that
those have
game
been?
by all the different graphics packages they vomited onto the game, it's like part of like 5 different series.
Because I haven't played any of those, so I'm a bad person to review that.
I'm going to say there's at least 5 in
Wow.
Mario and Luigi.
Wow.
I've
So I
played
never did a
fair
Mario
amount of the first
retrospective.
one,
Screw that.
but not all of it.
So the way this franchise has gone so far was Bowser's Inside Story, which was on DS, and this game I freaking love.
Yeah.
I actually did play a little bit of the import of that. That was actually pretty good.
So good. It's like, let's explore Bowser. You spend half the game as Bowser. Well, not half, but you spend.
Huber's played this, right?
He hasn't. He's too good for portable games. So
Oh, right.
That's a whole other conversation. And then just I love exploring Bowser and who he is. It's actually a great story. Ends with like a real emotional. It hits you deep. Then we had Dream Team. This is the 3DS game. Total stinker. It's like, hey, Mario goes on vacation. And he's on an island, and this thing wants to destroy the island. So Mario's got to go find this god who's too lazy to save the island. So you got to give it some money. And it's like the story's so stupid. The story is important in RPGs. It is important. And for them to just say, no, the story doesn't matter, you just yuck it up, everybody.
Wait,
It makes me
wait.
so angry.
So wait, the story of that is he meets God, but God is
A
too
god.
lazy and wants some money.
Yeah. It's a god
You
bird.
could make an amazing game with that
You
story.
absolutely could. Yeah.
That
Maybe not
story
Mario,
is
though, yeah.
incredible.
Yes, you're right, it is.
That's like the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Matt Blair, you're a 3DS owner. Are you looking forward to Mario and Luigi Paper Jam?
No, I did what was the last one? It was Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Oh, that was the last Paper Mario game, yeah.
But it wasn't paper. It was Mario and Luigi, very much so. It's like RPG combat type stuff, just with like stickers in the world. It was it's very much a Mario and Luigi game in that sense.
No,
Right? Where
they're
it's
very similar. It's kind of weird that they've made them separate franchises, but yeah.
I'm just gonna call it Paper Mario and Luigi, basically.
Okay, cool.
It feels like it's carrying on. That was the last one they did too, right? There hasn't been one since then.
I think Dream Team came after Sticker Star, but yeah.
Did it? Okay. All right. I'm sorry, but still, it's
I don't think so.
it's
Okay,
too
Brandon says
closely
no.
it's too closely related to that one for me to not draw some obvious comparisons. So, obviously, Sticker Star was crap. It was just crap.
Yeah.
Paper Jam's not a good word. Or not a good title.
Oh, I love that title. I gotta be
Nobody
honest.
likes Paper Jams.
I love that title, but it's a jam, you know, and it's
I get it. Yeah.
It's a double entendre.
But from what they've shown of the game, I'm sure that kids will enjoy it. Probably not having played any of the other games, but to me, I think it'll be too much of a letdown compared to the ones that drew us into that type of gameplay, especially in this franchise. So I'm not going to get my hopes up for it. But hey, maybe it'll be a pleasant surprise.
Also, this is the one, right? This is like the most hideously unattractive game I've ever seen.
it does look very bad.
Like there's paper graphics, there's crappy like really round CG graphics. It looks awful to me.
And I hate it. I hate it when games make you. Sorry, Ian, but when games make you do something super specific in a ton of areas in an open world, if that makes any sense. Like, you have to use Paper Mario to sneak through this crevice so that on the other side you can hit a switch so that the other Marios can go through. Sometimes you can do that really well, but when it starts to feel like a chore to pull up the right asset or to use the right attack, when you do that too much or you focus your entire game on that, then it just it pisses me off, actually.
It's the Lost Vikings problem.
Yeah, to Ian's point, this is very funny because like the way that sprites are represented, the way that Mario and Luigi is represented is a 2D sprite. I don't know what we call it. You know, the old like Duke Nukem style. When it's a 3D world with 2D sprites within it, it's that.
Yeah,
and so for them to look at Paper Mario and say, "You look flat," it's like you're flat, you idiot. You're all flat. You're all flat sprites. Oh, it makes okay. You know what? We got to move on before I get angry. Later. On January 26th, Lego Marvel Avengers is coming. Mm-hmm. I think this was a game that was delayed, as we're talking about games that have already been delayed. I think this was supposed to come out this year, and now it's been delayed till January of next year. I saw some nodding heads. Are we excited about this game?
I wrote this game off. I was like, what? You guys made an Avengers game. What are you doing? And then like saw it at Comic-Con and was like, you guys, man, they're crazy. Like even Lego Batman 3, where I was like, I don't know. I don't have time for another Lego Batman. You gave it to me and asked me to review it. I was like, I don't know if I have time for this.
Yeah.
Because like I would be obsessed with it. Like I'd want to like 100% that and get all the blocks and everything. And then like you get into it and it's like, oh, I see what they did. They actually went to like all of the planets of the Green Lantern Corps and all this. I mean, there's just so much in it. And I was thinking like, what more could you do with Avengers? But the Lego Marvel, it's just Lego Marvel superheroes, right?
Yes.
Was kind of focused on just the Lego world. It actually wasn't focused on any of the films. So this Avengers game is everything. It's all the Caps, all the Iron Mans, all the Avengers, just like that whole Marvel cinematic thing just dumped into one video game. And it's not like, oh, you do Avengers 1 and then you do Avengers, like you bounce around all over the place between different scenes and
cool.
locations and
a little more focused then.
Yeah.
Like Lego Marvel Original, I guess. I don't know what we start to call it that, but that one was very just completely haywire. You go any direction and very free roam. You run around New York and stuff. Did we call that? I don't know where it ranked in our open worlds on our recent countdown.
It ranked ridiculously high.
Yeah.
It was ridiculously cool.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like flying up to the helicarrier, like,
yeah.
And being able to play as all of like the X-Men and everybody else in the extended universe. That was all great for that reason.
Yeah.
Now when you kind of try to focus on the Avengers, I know you just say Avengers and it feels like one thing, but it is everything.
Yeah. Well, there won't be any X-Men. X-Men are out.
Everything that we've seen in the cinematic
Peggy
universe.
Carter and stuff. Like there's other things in the cinematic universe. You can be the Shield and you can bring in.
And so when we've seen what they can do when they get focused, so that's actually kind of an exciting note.
Well, it's like you think about it as a cash in. Like that was my first thing when I saw it. Where it was just like, oh, okay, they're rather than wearing some other franchise or something, like we already got all the character models and everything. Let's just make another game. But it's like when you're Tony Stark, you can just go into the character selection screen and pick any of the different Iron Man costumes and just switch to that. Or you can go inside of his helmet and you see like the little Lego Tony Stark like in his helmet.
Really?
And you have all of the options. And if you select them from there, he does a specific animation getting into the suit that's different for every costume he has. And there's like 20 of them. And there's like 10 to 20 Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. The original Mark, like the one that he builds like when he's in prison and like the original thing, Stan Lee comes out with like a big box and just like puts it in front of him and like slams it on and puts the leg on and stuff. And it's like, that's not a cash in. That's not, they wouldn't bother to do that if they weren't like, we love our jobs, we love these games. Like I met the guy at Comic-Con and he played it on like the big screen, like that was in front of their whole booth, and his little daughter was there and he's like, here honey, just play that. And he's like, so anyway, what we want to do, and she was just like running around like as the Avengers, like blowing stuff up. Quicksilver has like, you can like target a bunch of guys and then he'll like zip around and like attack him. The whole world goes into slow-mo while he does it. Like,
Brandon, I'm sensing enthusiasm for you. I'm stoked that we do have enthusiasm.
maybe I'm reviewing that.
Talking about huge delays, another game finally coming out, supposedly The Witness on January 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you believe how long we've been talking about The Witness?
It's a long time.
It's been a long time.
That poor man.
Yeah. But like you're excited about Witness, right, Ian?
I'm jazzed about it.
What more have we learned about that game since it was like literally the first time we ever saw it?
Nothing.
Right.
You just saw a little more of it, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's that game that we thought it was.
Even the videos they've been putting out, like there have been like 2 trailers where it's like they're just kind of doing flybys of an environment and stuff like that, and all of it looks gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not saying anything about it.
I do know that apparently who you are, if I'm remembering right, is like part of the mystique. Like you don't know who you are, and then you like see it at the end or something or somewhere, and it's like supposedly, I don't know.
That's a lot of pressure on a surprise. You don't want, honestly, you don't want that. That's too much
like
pressure.
Peter Molyneux level.
We should mention this comes from Jonathan Blow, whose last game is Braid.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
between Braid and now. Like
When did
there's-
Braid come out? Like 2005 or something?
No, it,
It was
was
on
like
Xbox.
2007 or 2008.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
think it
yeah,
was
yeah.
It was like the first Xbox Live Arcade hit, right?
Yeah.
One of the first.
I wouldn't say hit, but I think it was a breakthrough. You know what I mean? It wasn't Geometry Wars. It was like, hey, Xbox Live Arcade games don't have to be arcade games.
Well, did that
Yeah.
precede,
That's what was
did that
cool.
precede
Yeah.
like Portal and Journey, or was that Portal was a long time ago?
Well, it was
right?
way before
for
Journey, yeah.
sure.
But it's just like it was just one of the first times where you're like, this is a GOTY contender. Like this is a tiny little game that he made. I mean, not tiny, like it took a lot of
Sure.
work, but like this is like a fun little game that you could play just on the weekend
And
that
so
like
sad.
makes me happier. Makes me feel more fulfilled than that 40-hour RPG I just played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that didn't exist.
I have
when
a
this
lot of
site
respect.
started.
I mean, we have a running joke on Man Ups that like, I guess I have a running joke that I knew. I respect Jonathan Blow a lot. Like why did he keep unfocusing, autofocus? For listeners, but yeah, he like dumped all of his money into this game and like all of his time and like everything, and I think that's a really gutsy move.
Such
I
a
think
huge
it's cool.
risk. Yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
we'll be talking about The Witness at the end of next year.
I'm stoked about it.
I bet it
Ugh.
might be very good. We're moving on to February. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is coming on February 2nd. I suspect I'm the only one in this room excited about that. So
True.
all right, we'll just keep moving on.
I'm gonna play that.
Are you really gonna play the Digimon game?
No.
Okay. So Mighty Number 9 also comes out February 2nd.
Maybe.
Maybe. Why
Yeah.
maybe?
Because they just keep flaking on their release dates, so I don't know.
Yeah, this game should have come out so long ago.
I played this game at E3, and the whole game was there.
Yeah.
There were like 8 levels. I mean, it was like it was funny. Like I remember I came in. I was right before I saw Uncharted, and I like went in. And I was like, oh, my number 9, and like played. And there was a guy sitting next to like the far right terminal, and then like got up and like saw the Uncharted demo, and then came back and like had to wait for something else. So I'm like, oh, just go back in there and see if there's anything else fun to play in there. And the same guy was sitting down. It was just he's like, I'm just gonna sit here for 2 hours and just play like 65% of this game.
Well, the latest trailer focused on like all the extra modes, like boss rush and that kind of thing.
Well, and this was, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be thinking of the wrong game. Wasn't this supposed to be episodic, or it still is, or something like that? Like Mighty Number 9. You
not that I can remember.
No. There's never been anything episodic
plan,
about
plan
it.
for
that other
DLC or something like that. I feel like there was something about how launch day was not going to be. It was just going to be the beginning. you
Oh
know?
god, yeah. Well, I mean, Inafune wants to make it a franchise.
Sure.
Basically, it had like multiple Kickstarters too. Like it was visually funded, and then they're just like, hey, we could use some more money for voice acting. And it's like, oh, okay. So then they got more. There was so much goodwill for Mighty Number 9.
That second Kickstarter went
Yeah,
through?
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that actually.
you believe it?
I remember
Actually-
that starting, but
Wait, so when they
voice
delay it,
acting.
they're telling 2 sets of, well, probably overlap there, but 2 sets of Kickstarter people being like, we
Yeah.
promised you this, you paid for this, but we need some more time.
Yeah. Well, though, you didn't pay for a game, you pay for the Kickstarter. I don't feel like anybody. I don't know. It's a whole.
No, I mean, when you buy the game on Kickstarter, you're buying the game. You're pre-ordering.
No,
it,
no,
essentially.
you're not. That's not how it should be, though. You should be. I'm giving these people money to accomplish their dream.
Should be and how it is, totally different.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about XCOM on February 5th. This was one of our prime candidates for delays. Last time we talked about 2015.
Yeah. this would be my number 1 on the whole list of most, like if I was going to put my chips on one.
Wait, XCOM 2
game on the
delayed
board.
again?
Delayed again. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way, dude. Why?
Just of all the things that are on there, you talk about Amplitude, and it's like something would have to be so wrong for this little game that's like, or smaller game that's based on this old model that they already did. That's just more like, kind of like a comeback than like, kind of like a, not necessarily like a remake. Like, and it shouldn't be like they should not break that game. They should just release, new tracks for the old game, maybe add a couple modes in and stuff. Whereas like XCOM's a huge game. Like there's all sorts of cogs that could pop out in that development that would cause it to be pushed back, like 2 months or just something.
We haven't seen a whole lot either. I mean, I know we didn't of the original XCOM, so maybe there's
Right.
some kind of choice making to blame there. But you can't tell whether they're holding their chips or maybe they don't have very many to show.
I don't feel like that team always does show a whole lot of stuff. Like even
Yeah.
with Civ, they kind of hold back a little bit.
I really don't think it's going to get delayed.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about it. It's
Yeah.
just if I had to pick one, it'd be
Well, and
XCOM.
also like, didn't XCOM 1 come out on consoles day and date? This one they're only doing PC first, and
Exactly.
then maybe consoles.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the weird thing is, I don't feel the hype. I'm sure they're going to try to build it. I mean, 2K spends money on advertising, absolutely, but I'm not feeling it yet. Absolutely, like it's a weird thing.
It's such a huge year. Maybe there's waiting. There's like right after the holidays,
Sure.
and then they just do a huge push.
Hit us
you know,
hard.
like-
I hope they do.
before.
Right, because people love XCOM.
I mean, yeah, the original one came out. I think it surprised them how many awards they got. We gave them one.
GameTrailers.com,
yeah,
Game of the Year.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it deserved it, absolutely. And so, take the extra time, make it good. This isn't an argument against the game. It's just, it could very likely get delayed again.
Probably
Just
my
do
most
it well.
surprising goatee that was handed out when I was not there. That, like when I did not actually sit in on those final meetings.
yeah, I thought they were being a little cute with that one.
What?
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 I mean,
Come on.
everyone was super jazzed about that game
Is
at the
that, is
time.
that not what you're doing by saying that?
I
Everyone
remember
was jazzed.
Miguel was the biggest. He reviewed
Yeah.
it, right? Didn't he? Like
Miguel or Justin, but yeah, Justin was pretty.
It's like, okay, game
Yeah.
trailers, you're cool.
But like every single one of
You
us
bet
played
your
the
ass.
hell out of that game.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I played that game.
Like
everybody played it.
everybody at GT at the time who did play it were
Yeah.
so surprised at how good it was and how addicted to it that they were, and that's a big factor when you're talking about Game of the Year. So
All right. What impact has XCOM had? Do you still
None.
feel that? Do you still think that's a legendary
It
title?
disappeared immediately after we gave it Goaty.
Yeah.
well, did XCOM come out
But I mean,
before?
I feel like there have been some games out there that have, like it. There have been more of those strategy games.
FTL,
around.
I think. FTL seems to be
absolutely.
highly,
Yeah.
inspired. Just that whole thing. One of the things I really liked when I was reading it, where I'm like, that's an interesting selling point. Just again like Bloodborne, it's like you would want to do that to yourself when you play video games. Okay, but like every decision you make in XCOM is wrong. Like every direction you go in, it's like, well, you're making it difficult for yourself. But okay, it's like there's no easy road. There's no shortcuts.
And that's something you like?
I don't know. I played a little bit of XCOM. It was actually
okay.
the first game I streamed when we moved over to Defy. But
That's hilarious.
You get so attached to your little guys.
yes.
Oh yeah. No,
because they all have
like,
names.
Socks
my
died.
friends-
I was like, Socks.
yes. Can't you rename them?
I don't know. That
Yes.
his
Because
nickname was
Brent
Socks.
Phillips sent me a text one time and he's like, "You died. I'm sorry."
It's
But
like
it adds-
Oregon Trail all over again.
It added so much to tactics, which is kind of an underappreciated genre. I don't know if it's an accurate statement for me, anyways. I wanted
Sure.
to see, I think part of the intrinsic value of giving an award like Game of the Year is to say, please, more people do stuff like this.
I get what you're saying.
And it could
Yeah.
be anything. It could be, please, more people tell stories like this or whatever. And that did so much for tactics, and it made tactics so much more legit as a storytelling element and as all the different little gameplay elements they added to it. And to a certain extent, there were a lot of things about it that made it feel perfect. Everything was very tightly done, and so the experience was very tight, and we like all of those things. And so I think we kind of gave it that award, also hoping that more people would see, please do this with your games. You don't have to spend $10 billion. Just do something like this. And it hasn't really happened, and that's very disappointing. I'm glad you kind of bring it up, Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I hope they were able to accomplish that again with XCOM 2, frankly.
Exactly.
Ian, are you sure you can't turn down the TriCaster mic? It is
We
like
just don't know if people are hearing
it's
it.
like
are you
having
talking
it's like
about?
having a fan blowing into my ears.
I
Not so
don't
bad for
hear
me.
it.
We do.
But then if
This
he
is
doesn't,
my
but if
mic.
he doesn't hear
Uh-huh.
it, then the
This is my mic on,
Okay.
and now here it is off.
Yeah, that's so
we don't
sucky.
hear any difference.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about Street Fighter V on February 16th. Absolutely, I hear that.
It's really weird.
So you turned your mic off and we still hear it?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I turned my mic off and I can't hear it.
Oh, that's so weird.
So
All right.
that means that it's passing through to your bus,
hopefully not the
even when it's on.
hopefully not the
pass on
listeners.
to
who
that
does.
bus.
There's a secret microphone behind the actual.
As long as so the listeners just think I'm a crazy man.
The listener,
Oh, yeah.
you are a psychopath.
Okay, all right. So something I'm very excited about, probably most excited about on this list, Street Fighter V, February 16th. Oh my gosh. Street Fighter V is an event.
Yeah.
When I talk about...
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Ian!
It happened.
I mean, you're reacting to nothing that they can hear, but I pushed the mute button on myself.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
So I'll just do that
Okay,
instead
cool.
of turning myself down.
Cool.
So weird.
Street Fighter V is an event. When I talk about sequels being wanting them to be events, this is the example. It's huge. It's just basically when a new Street Fighter game comes out, fighting games change. You know what I mean? This is the big boy of the fighting games pool. I'm so excited about Street Fighter V.
It's so proud in everything that it does. It's just every time I played it, it's just they're set. That's that character. That's how he's gonna play. Done. Finished. This is it. This is the experience. And I just think the advertising is so much energy, and it just seems like it's just firing on all cylinders the whole time. From announcement all the way up into launch. It's not like, oh well, this is the early part of the game. It's just like, nope, we're ready. And we'll just have more news. Next week, next month. And then the game will come out.
I'm sure there was big news this weekend at PSX. I'm sure we had more. Yeah.
Kyle,
Yeah.
Really quick.
Okay.
I trust, I think probably you at this panel more than the rest of us. I don't know. Somebody speak up if I'm wrong, but if there was somebody here to answer the question, for somebody who doesn't understand, and this isn't me, but there are plenty of people out there that just don't understand the hype over Street Fighter V, considering when they look at it, it's like, yes, it looks better, 1080, 60, and all those things, and they understand. But when you show off the same fighter for the for the however many time, but for this particular installment, it doesn't seem exciting to somebody who doesn't dig into that game and understand what it means when they update the mechanics and what it means when they talk about balancing.
That's cool. That's a great question. That's a great concern, I think.
Like, what's the best way to kind of convey to people who are just like, it's another Street Fighter, who cares?
So really weird. I mean, we haven't seen it yet. This game has a story mode.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. The idea that they actually like care about Street Fighter story as much as I do is exciting to me, because the characters are changing. Ryu's changing. Ken's changing. I mean, he took his shirt off. We had that at least. But Dhalsim's got a beard now and is willing to wear a turban again.
Rad. I think Dhalsim's my favorite update of all the characters.
Yeah. And so I like that. I like that there's changes to characters, but also Blair, they're trying to make this game simpler for new people to get into. I like that a lot.
Isn't that usually dangerous?
Yes.
Well,
Usually-
NHL did that this year, and that worked out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It is usually dangerous, but I mean, it's still not like an easy game. It's still very hardcore.
Right.
But
Is it weird that Dhalsim is the only one who aged?
he's not the only one who aged. Ryu has aged.
Plus,
Oh,
isn't,
really?
isn't
Yeah.
he like a canon question? Isn't he super old anyways? Like, isn't that one of his things?
It probably is. We
He's
don't know.
always been.
We
We'll
don't.
He's
find
got
out.
that yoga fire.
We do
Yeah.
know that his yoga fire is an illusion. That's been established.
Yes, moving on.
But also, Blair, so basically Street Fighter 4 has some combos, has some things that give you a tactical advantage that are one-frame links.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, your brain is processing faster than a human brain should in order to press the buttons to make, like, combos happen that are, like, tactically, that give you a tactical advantage. They're trying to kill those. They're trying to make it so normal humans can actually perform well in this game, and I think that's something that I definitely can appreciate.
Interesting.
Like, the thing I'll say about Street Fighter is, like, I played a Capcom representative. Like, I went at PAX and was like, oh, let me check out the new fighters. And they're just like, okay, well, let me get the Street Fighter guide. I'm like, I don't want to play him. What? You know, and like,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he came in and we're like, here's Ken, and it's just like destroying me in 2 seconds. And I was like, oh, let me play as Bison. And like, Bison has this great like warp that he does. And it was like so gratifying as like a very bad Street Fighter fighter to have him like do this huge attack at me and just like, nope, like I can at least get that, you know,
Yeah.
like no way I'm getting your health bar down, but like I can at least survive for a little bit. So yeah, so it's fun. Again, like I didn't win, but I had more fun losing, you know. So like I think
Sounds like
that
a little
says
bit,
something to me.
A little bit more uniqueness between the fighter choices, maybe a little more depth, I guess, maybe.
It's the best game in its genre, and it's getting better.
Yeah.
I think that should always be celebrated, regardless of whether you're a fan of. It's just like Hearthstone. It's like it's the best card game out there, and you know.
Yeah.
So it's like yay for that.
This is
and yay that fighting games are still like, you know. Granted, we're not giving out a fighting game award this year.
Speaking of giving awards to things and then seeing other games do the same thing, Hearthstone.
Right.
Cards everywhere.
Yeah.
Cards everywhere. Good luck, Bethesda. Let's move on to
Cards in NHL. It's NHL.
really.
Yeah.
They've been there since before Hearthstone,
Yeah.
technically.
Well,
Nice.
FIFA. Kick that off.
February 19th in the US, we're seeing Fire Emblem Fates, another 3DS game. This one I'm actually so steamy stoked for.
I don't know anything about this.
Okay, then what can I tell you about Fire? Let's have Blood
Is
describe
it
it.
on Wii
actually.
or 3DS first of all?
3DS.
probably,
3DS,
right?
yeah. I don't know what I could do to describe it other than, Fire Emblem's been on a roll. I mean, there's been some dips here and there, but for the most part, it's always been excellent, and the past couple have been really good.
Never played one ever.
Yeah. I mean, it actually kind of, with that and XCOM, it's kind of crazy to see them coming out around the same time.
Yeah, because it does have a similar thing where you care about the characters of your squad,
Yeah.
and if they die, they die.
Yeah.
Well, you could
Well,
like
haven't
they
they
can
had
like get married and
They've
have
changed
kids,
that
right?
lately, right?
Right. You can play on a baby difficulty, but don't do that. If you're playing that game, don't do that. It's way worth it to have your characters die if they die.
So yeah, it's great to have that kind of strategy RPG, that's very full-fledged story and characters and just like all the different mechanics that go into each type of unit and everything. So
And 3DS is hungry for it, right?
3DS is hungry right now.
yeah,
That is
it's
a
been a
hungry
bad
little
year for
machine.
3DS this
its
year.
belly
Yeah.
is gurgling.
Triforce Heroes is not carrying that console right now.
They did a lot of patches to Triforce Heroes that I actually respect, but
Oh.
I still can't respect the game. It's still hard to get into it.
The core gameplay is flawed.
Later that month, February 28th, Far Cry Primal is coming out.
Yeah.
Brandon, this might be after your embargo. Are you allowed to talk about this game or
You
no?
can't talk about it until 8 p.m.
8 p.m. tonight.
Okay, so forget about it. Oh,
Okay. I can explain it. I can say
Can you?
I can say what it is. I mean, you've seen
Yeah.
the trailer. It's
sure.
It's BC, baby. We're going back in time, and you're a caveman dude running around.
and I think what most people are most surprised by is that it's a full game. This is going to be a $60 game. This is a Far Cry game.
Because one of the things that people are speculating is that like this was going to be Blood Dragon for Far Cry 4. You know, it was just
Right.
like, oh, this was going to be an extension to Far Cry 4 because it is Far Cry 4-ish, you know, and I can see where it's like, oh, this is clearly just a game built on that, but it's so different and it's so, I don't know, it's really its own thing, and it's fun to see, you know, like Far Cry 4 had these like flashbacks, you know, back to, you know, this old eras where it's like very primitive, and like those are always just really fun. I think that's kind of like where Blood Dragon came out of, was they were like, we experiment with these things, these little modes to shake things up, and like we put so much work into them that they end up just being fun on their own. And so it's interesting. Like Far Cry Primal really speaks to me because I don't know what it is. I should like probably talk to a therapist about this sometime. But like
Please
I don't
do.
know. I don't know what it is. Where like I'm so I love open world games, but like I'm really attached to games like Minecraft where they're just like go, and you're like, okay, whoa, I got to protect myself. Like I need wood, I need, you know, items, I need, you know, like it's a Tomb Raider, and you know, I love starting with nothing and then looking at yourself at the end of the game and being like, wow, I'm a survivor now. I can.
Brandon, I think you're
just bring on the
disappointed
elements.
in your accomplishments in this modern era where
Yeah.
things are handed to you.
Right.
I think you don't feel challenged as a human, and part of your personality wants to go back to an era where you had to fight for all of the.
How much?
It's $500 an hour. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 coming out the same day.
I'll probably review that. Yeah. Oh no, coming out the same. Oh no, I'm doing Far Cry. We're giving PvZ to somebody else. 'Cause
Same
I definitely
day.
want to review Primal.
Yeah. So this is cool. That's a cool sequel, I think.
Yeah.
What is that?
No,
That's
it's
an
fun.
apprehensive yeah.
No. It's PvZ. You know, it's like you. There's no way to ask for PvZ to be more. I think you
Sure.
can't you can't ask PvZ to be anything more than just kind of like a crazy taxi, funny
Funny
crazy game.
story. For Thanksgiving, I was hanging out with my cousin Hudson, who's 9.
Cool name.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a genius. Like he's in like a tech club, and he has a 3D printer. They like gave him a 3D printer, and he
Terrifying.
made a prosthetic hand for someone, and like that person has this hand now. It's amazing
Wow.
to me. And he's 9, and he like writes. He's a really good writer. Kid's incredible, but and his
Kyle, I'm
sister's hilarious.
I'm gonna need to sit
But-
on the couch again, Kyle.
Sure, absolutely.
But he was talking to me about Portal. He's really big into Portal, and then he's like, "Do you play Plants vs Zombies?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh." He's like, "But Portal anyway." And then I told him about Talos Principle, and now he's playing that. But
So he calls it Pants vs. Zombies?
no, I just misspoke.
Okay.
But yeah, he's super into Plants vs Zombies, and I didn't know who the demographic was.
And this is the kid who makes a prosthetic hand
Yeah.
is also into this game.
He's super into Portal and Talos Principle and Plants vs Zombies.
that to me implies there's something greater to Plants vs.
Yeah.
Zombies.
I was surprised.
My
Yeah.
friend's kid went as a sea shroom for Halloween. And I was at a party, and she was like, "Hey, he's going to sea shroom." And I'm like, "Sea shroom?" She's like, "They're in the water." I'm like, "I know what sea shrooms are. They're like the zero cost, free things you just put in water that get like destroyed. Like they can't do anything, but they'll slow zombies down. So like if they're free, why not? Just throw them all out there and then, you know, build up your stuff."
That's what the kid said.
The
I
kid
want to
was
be
like
that for Halloween.
Sea shroom. He had like the helmet on and like the nose and just like the whole like blue outfit.
That's
It was like,
awesome.
Yeah, before,
Sure, dude.
before we move on, I think that is like a testament to that franchise in particular is how much they actually care about those characters. It's so weird. They care about the lore and they care about those characters immensely.
And I went to the EA presentation for Judges Week, and it's like you got the sports guys coming up, and like they got to do a whole laundry list of things. You got like the Need for Speed guy coming up. He's got to explain like how the franchise is going to be rebooted. You got like BioWare coming up to say like, please God, play play the Old Republic again. We have a very serious story. And then like PvZ guys come up and just have fun. You know, like,
Yeah.
they just come
Yeah.
up and they're like, here's this dumb character we came up with. Here's this silly area, like this giant robot mech factory that they're building. It's just like, oh, thank you. Like,
They always have a smile on their face
Yeah.
when they're
Yeah.
talking about their own
So,
game.
hard
And
to-
you know how many hours they burn and how much stress they probably have while they're doing their jobs, like everyone else. But when they manage to come out and talk to you about it and they're excited to do so, and they're giddy to announce things, that translates over to their product. And that's why when you play the games, it's always fun.
Heck yeah.
And I think the first game was a huge success. They just announced some number that I wish I had that was like, I don't know if it was hours spent in the game or how many, like how much
No,
money
don't
they made
keep
on
track of hours or money. Don't keep track of those numbers. We don't want those
You don't want to
numbers.
see the hours.
But
it
it does prove that Garden Warfare wasn't something that just came out and was a fad, and then like there are
had
fans
legs.
dedicated enough that they keep playing
Yeah.
the game. And they said that all of the material, all the microtransactions, and everything you did in PvZ Garden Warfare 1 will or transfer over.
So we're moving on to March. It's March 4th.
Wow, it's quick.
Blair, everyone knows our opinions on this game, so we're going to ask for you. What do you think about Twilight Princess HD?
Fantastic. More of this. More of this. Bring them back, make it playable for the new crowd, so that the old crowd, so that the new crowd understands the old crowd when you say, oh, back in my day we had this game or whatever. All of the virtual console stuff was kind of meant to be that. I'm not really sure how popular that all of the older games happen to be on the virtual consoles for the new kids. But that's always my primary argument when somebody's like, hey, why would we do HD remakes? We've already played this game. Well, there's so many people who haven't.
Yeah.
There's so many people who haven't, and then the ones who have would love to see it in HD. There's just no reason not to do it, really. I mean, it's cheaper I'm presuming it's cheaper than to make that game again from scratch, right? Or to make a new game again from scratch. I think it's something that people can justify spending a little bit on to make a lot on. I think it's good for everyone.
Yeah, and this one they've outsourced even. Like Nintendo's not even wasting any development time on this one in particular.
For the most part, the creative's done, right? The direction is done. You have something to base on. They go and they play the original game. They know how they need to make it feel. So for the most part, you can trust somebody with it who's maybe an up-and-comer. So maybe a new developer can cut their teeth on something, working with something that's already a proven success. All of it is good, in my opinion.
Is it lefty or righty?
It's GameCube version.
So he's going back to his left hand.
Yeah.
Link's going to hold that sword in his left hand. Blair, real quick before we move on, we didn't talk about this too much when we did talk about Twilight Princess HD. So what was promised when it was announced is that it comes with a little Wolf Link amiibo if you buy it physical. That will have some use inside of the game, but it will also have some use inside of Zelda for Wii U. So, what do we do with Zelda Wii U? Is that coming to NX?
If it doesn't, they're insane.
Yeah. And then will Amiibo come to NX?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. The NX is just going to be an Amiibo.
We could just
Are these not Are these not facts that have already been assumed on this show?
I guess we should have. I guess we absolutely should have.
The fact that Zelda Wii U, quote unquote, is even coming to the Wii U at all, I think is silly.
I found that surprising myself.
Have they even said that?
They doubled down on
coming
it.
to Wii U in 2016.
It's still just called Zelda for Wii U. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until we get the real
Which
title.
is a huge mistake. Unless the NX comes out, unless they're doing like a Twilight Princess, bridge the gap thing.
Well, I think it'll be backwards compatible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. Again, there were more rumors about NX coming out this week. Maybe we can touch on that a little bit, but basically reinforcing that they're manufacturing it soon and that they're launching in 2016.
The rumors came out this week, or the NX is coming out?
The NX is coming out this week, and I got
NX.
one. Come to my house to play the NX.
Yeah.
More rumors this week.
I heard that from Elise Williams.
Oh yeah, because you're watching The Know.
Who's that?
I heard that the manufacturing stuff. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say the biggest budget so far that we've talked about is coming out on March 8th. The Division.
Oh yeah.
Tom Clancy's The Division.
That game has been delayed for 8 years.
Yeah, we need to push this back up to the top of that list.
Yeah, do you think that'll get delayed again?
We still know almost nothing.
Because
We can't assume that the things we know are still true.
I know that they're definitely still making progress on it, and they wanted to do a preview this month, and then it just was too crowded, so it didn't happen. So
that sounds like something you can't talk about, but
even the preview got delayed.
I mean, some details I wouldn't talk about, but I mean,
sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
They announced this game in an era where they were so confident in being able to announce games and get them out the same year, and they've seen several of those games fall apart since then.
What games fell apart?
A couple of the Assassin's Creed games.
Watch Dogs was divisive.
Yeah, sure. And
But you think about like how that announcement of Watch Dogs hit so hard. You know, like that was such a huge moment.
Yeah.
That like the next year, I think they were like, we have to have something. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well we got this project. Like let's just throw something together. And then it was like, oh.
And the
crap.
funny thing is, the Division like was that year when everybody was making companion apps, and they made a big deal about it. And then
Oh,
they showed it
yeah.
off. Like I went into a demo. I was so frustrated with that demo because I had to like wait. You know, had to have an appointment, wait through all those lines and everything, and they didn't have anything new in the demo aside from the companion app.
Oh,
That was
God.
the only thing they showed that wasn't what they had already shown on stage.
That's a really funny time
And
capsule.
now they've cut it out. Like
Yeah.
it's not even in the game.
Good.
good. Yeah, that's actually a good sign. Like I know most people are rolling their eyes and gritting their teeth at something like this, but the fact that we haven't heard anything and that the momentum of all of that stuff kind of seemed to drop off, that could be actually a better sign than a worse one. And you know, I don't think they're going to have it ready by March, and that might be a good thing too. Like we don't want them to push it out. I think they need to.
The funniest thing to me is that the only game that I'm familiar with that actually has a good companion app is Fallout 4, and it just did it like without much fanfare. They were just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, and you can have the Pip-Boy on your
Oh,
phone.
there was fanfare.
There's fanfare, but like they weren't advertising it like
They-
heavily.
They did. They had
That's
their
what the
own,
whole Pip-Boy was about.
Yeah, they
Right,
had their
but they
own
didn't,
E3
like-
press conference, and they're like, "This
No,
is a
but
big deal," and it
about
was.
the phone
But
app.
remember
Yeah.
that press conference? Remember the
Well-
press conference. To Ian's point, like
Yeah.
they said so much in
Yeah.
that press conference, and then it
Yeah.
was just like, oh, by the way,
Yeah, it
you'll
was
be
an
able to buy a little
afterthought.
Pip-Boy thing. You can put your phone in it. It's
Yeah.
going to be pretty cool. That was the tone of it.
Yeah, that was the tone.
They
of
didn't.
it.
They didn't come
Yeah.
out and
They
like,
weren't like the whole presentation wasn't. You can call in helicopters with your iPad.
Yeah.
Right.
Other people can come in on
They
their
didn't.
iPad.
They didn't email us with a preview appointment to look at the Pip-Boy app.
I'm gonna say a lot of that is Todd Howard's smug delivery. Like he's got that. Pinned
Well, the other
down.
thing too is he knows like it's not the time for that yet. The
Yeah.
time for this is going to be when it actually comes out and everyone gets it. And Marcus Spear takes a picture of himself, like you know, it's like that's he's like I know it's going to happen, so we
Yeah.
don't need to push it now.
March 11th, Hitman, the Hitman
yeah.
essential
Fingers
reboot.
crossed, man.
No, it's coming. That
No,
one.
no, just fingers crossed that it's good.
one's
You know,
Oh,
like,
sure.
episodic.
I know, but so
Yes.
it's like if it's episodic, then that first
Yeah.
chapter.
It's
It's like
better
King's
come
Quest.
out.
It's like do it.
So to describe to everyone about Hitman, it's not quite episodic. It is.
Yeah, it's just no content and then more content later.
No. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons they delayed it, so that there's more upfront.
It will launch with
Oh,
more.
okay.
Yeah. And it was always meant to be free. They were always going to add more chunks for free later on, but I think they just wanted to launch with more. They anticipated reviews.
Correctly.
Yeah, correctly. Yeah.
it's like Battlefront. It's
We
kinda where
saw what happened to
Battlefront's
Battlefront.
at right
Yeah. And so I think they clearly don't want that. And so I think it'll be good when it
hope
comes
so.
out.
I like the idea. It's less, not completely gone, but it's less money grabby and more just like, hey, let's try something.
Sure.
We had this idea. We want to see how it works. I'm not usually happy when they throw a franchise into this. Hey, we have this idea. Well, then let's grab. It's like the Die Hard, the last Die Hard movie, or the second to last one, where like it wasn't originally a Die Hard movie. It's like, well, the script
Right.
works for this, so like, well, let's throw it in there. That's usually a recipe for disaster, but from what I can tell, it's actually kind of a cool idea. It seems to fit.
But the way it is the game is $60 and then all the content, the extra content is free.
For a while. Yeah.
So why?
so
They should have done like $20.
No.
Up front.
No, you don't sell your AAA game for $20.
Yeah.
Sure you do if it's parsed out and not a full game.
That
I think
devalues it.
You sell actually
right,
probably
but
less
like
volume.
then people wouldn't get pissed
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a full game.
No, but I mean, it's so tricky. I think you'd actually
Three
sell
payments
less
of
volume.
$20.
I don't want to do it. That's too. I don't know. I know
It's more honest to me because like if I like the game $20 but not $60, then I don't have to pay for the next two chunks of it.
I know, and I think everyone in the comments will agree with you. But I do
Yeah.
think that there's definitely like you do have to value your game at a certain price point,
Sure.
or else
I
everything
see
collapses
that.
beneath
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I like sometimes you honestly you have to charge your game $60. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I realize, and it sounds like Kyle's evil, and he just really wants to.
I like Evil Kyle.
Yeah, scratch
No,
the
I mean
back.
I
of-
agree with you.
Yeah, I know.
I see it, but like also I don't see it. It'd be interesting to see what would have happened.
It's really hard for me to predict how this will review because it is a different Hitman game. Basically, it's replay the same areas in different ways. I can see it like streaming well. I can see like people sharing their experiences more and everything. It's like not progression based. You know what I mean? It's kind of just like, oh, a different thing is happening in that same map, and you just kind of play the same map in different orders.
Yeah, that's going to be super, super important to see how that experience happens when you finally go into the same area for the second time to do a different thing.
How do you think it'll review, panel? Do you think this game will review well?
I'll say this. I mean, this is not speaking to review. This is just like my own personal opinion. But like Splinter Cell, I thought like one of the reasons why they rebooted it, it's just got like every game for a while was like about his daughter again. It's like, oh, Sam's daughter, and like we're still talking about this. Like there's just something about, and even like some of the James Bond movies. It's just like I would love a James Bond movie that wasn't like the most critical, amazing, crazy thing that happened to his psyche. It's like just have him go on a mission and win. Like, calm down. Like the story doesn't have to be interesting if it's not like, oh, he's going back to his homestead. Like, okay, but so I kind of like the Hitman. I hope he's just Hitman. He's just a guy like just zero emotions, goes in, does the job, game's fun. Like I think if the story was done well, if the areas were done well, if it was worth replaying, like I'd be okay with that. If like it wasn't really focused on him, like he was just kind of a shadow on the wall, that'd be great.
That's very interesting.
I think it's one of the rare franchises that could do that. Tomb Raider, no, like you have to have her like have a big story. Like Deus Ex, like yes, like have really create that world and put him in it. Whereas like if he's just in and out, gone, like if this is just a contract, then like he doesn't need to be like directly associated with the story.
The concept did bring me back to like the days of Blood Money and Silent Assassin, where it's like
Blood Money is so good.
I know, and but it just feels like you're right, Kyle. It's going to be so important to see how the maps play out and if they can change them in any way to make it feel fresh. But like the core gameplay that we're talking about, how they're updating it later, is that I think they do everything from like a daily mission to a weekly to a monthly to certain things where like this guy is suddenly in town. Here's your contract, go kill him.
And everyone in the world is working together to accomplish that mission.
And so when I get up on Tuesday and whatever day it changes, and it's like I get a notification, this guy's in town, we need him dead. All right, cool, let me scope it out. I've been here before. Let me figure out how I want to kill this guy. It brings me back to those days, like in my head at least, because obviously we have to see how it plays out when the game comes out. But it seems really cool and fitting for the franchise. Yeah, I'm excited for that aspect because obviously the last game strayed pretty far from that.
Yeah.
So it not only was that a big change away from the Hitman that we want, but like this feels like a change that could bring it back to the one we want. It's positive.
Cool. I'm excited to have some positivity on the panel for Hitman. That feels good.
The year's getting better and better as we're going through it.
You too, Blood?
I'm not really familiar with Hitman that well. I haven't played any of them, but I think the stealth genre is one where like. Yeah, you can have maps that are complex enough to replay because you can have all kinds of different options,
Oh, this old argument. This is you and me on Deus Ex again.
Metal Gear. Going back to like an area for that fourth time, it's like I'm gonna kill this mission, because like I know where everything is. I know where all the security cameras are. I know where guards are likely to be. Like I know this area.
Yeah.
And it's not like, well, Snake wouldn't come back here a fourth time. Like sure he would. Like if you doing missions there and like
no.
like the first time he went through there was a hostage there that he didn't pay attention to because he knew who it was, and then he's like, oh wait, I gotta go back in and rescue.
So
that guy.
basically, the thing everyone complained about in Metal Gear Solid 5.
I thought it was a really interesting approach to an open world.
Here's the thing I'm having trouble with.
The helicopter. That was the only thing. It's like
I'm staring across this table at Kyle, who's having a very negative reaction to what Brandon just said, and I'm just thinking there's no more clear example than this. I'm looking at somebody who really enjoys where Hitman has come from, and he wants it to go back there, and it's possible. And we've kind of established that it's at least on its way.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you want that, Kyle, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay if you don't like where Hitman is going because there are plenty of people who probably do.
Yeah. I think it'll be I definitely think it's a cool game, and it's at least unique. Yeah.
The biggest myth, I think, in games and pretty much any media, because people complain about literally everything on the internet these days, is that you have to make a game that literally everyone's going to like. False. That's never going to happen. Ever. Somebody out there will find a reason to hate it.
Yeah.
So
you gotta make it.
We gotta let Hitman be Hitman, and I think that's what they're doing.
We need to see more.
Game Trailers gives it a 7.9 or an 8.2.
I don't like to make bets about scores because that's something. Oh my God! Don't do that.
Which they'll think is a good score, but is a bad score.
All right.
Yeah. I have a new thought on that actually that I want to talk to you about.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Just the scoring system.
All right, I'm sorry, Brandon. You can't just do that. We have to talk about what you're talking about right now.
Well, Ian brings up that like if you're in class, if you're in school and you get a C, you fail. But I think judging the education of children versus consumer products, like that doesn't fit. No. Those are like if you want a kid to graduate class, like I want you to be the best. Like if I'm hiring you, you better be an A student. I'm only going to accept one person out of all of these applicants, and if you have the best grade, I'm going to hire you. Whereas that's not how you make video game purchasing decisions at all.
So really, you just don't value your time.
No, hold on.
It's just it's a number system, and the number applies to human beings educating for employment in one
Right.
way, and video games determining value based on opinions and consumer choices a totally
I guess
different way.
just to me, like a B or less is not worth my time.
Okay, that's how you make
But
your
you can
decision.
tell.
That's
Right.
how you
I can
do it,
see a
yeah.
game
Yeah, no,
in
that's
the
me.
6 range and know I'm going to still play that because I love that. Whereas if a guy comes
Yeah.
at me who's a D student, I'm not hiring you ever.
Yeah.
Ever. It's not going to happen.
Well, you don't know,
You know, where it's
people's
like-
grades when you're hiring them.
Oh,
necessarily.
Interesting
This is
point
true.
to bring
well,
up.
but if
No,
you got
no,
D's, you're probably not going to be off.
Right,
You're
you're just-
probably
right.
not going to get to a point where you got jobs
Yeah.
to get to.
You didn't
your
get into
resume is going to
college.
suffer, and then that because
Or
of that.
whatever.
So that's it. Sorry.
Game reviewers' jobs is not to say like this product is efficient. You know what I mean? Like I don't like consumer, like the way you call it a consumer assessment. You know what I mean? Like
You're going to make a purchasing decision, and I'm gauging the likeliness of you enjoying this game if you buy it.
no, don't do that.
The reviewer
What?
should be saying, this is what I think the quality of this game is. And
Yes.
then me, the consumer, says, that's not high enough quality for me. Screw this
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
Right, but
Don't
you
just
do
say
have
the same
language
thing with
like
different
if you
words.
like these games, Triforce Heroes. If you bought every Zelda game ever, go get it. It's fine. You
What
know,
if I
like,
did and I still hate Triforce Heroes like me?
You're still gonna buy it. You're still
I
gonna
did buy
want it in
What
your
if I
life.
tell you I don't want it in my life.
But you knew that ahead of time. Like
Yeah.
you, the first trailer that you saw, you knew that wasn't for you. So it's like, okay, so you don't need that
Oh
review.
my gosh! Oh boy! Oh boy! March 18th, Uncharted 4. We'll
Pass.
okay. This is the last game we're talking about.
What?
That's it. March. That's March.
Isn't there another huge release in March?
Is there Dark Souls 3 in March?
I thought so.
It's not on my list. Double check on that, Ian, because I think it might be March.
I'll check.
Okay. Uncharted 4, obviously a big deal for the PlayStation 4. This game is supposed to come out this year. It was delayed until March so that they can make a better ending, apparently. Do we expect great things from this?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean, of course?
March 24th.
Okay, so we'll talk about that after this.
I just feel like Uncharted to me is if like Mario Batali came over your house and he's like, I'm gonna make you dinner. I'm like, yes, do it. And he's just like, but like at the end he's like, you know what? No,
That was very
no,
sexy.
I'm gonna come back tomorrow. I'm gonna make you dinner tomorrow night because I forgot a thing. And I'm like, go get that thing. Do it. You go get that, paprika or whatever you need, man.
But then,
Oh,
but then
okay.
he
Got
leaves
you.
the project, and someone else comes in and is like, "I'm gonna cook
and
you
it's
dinner."
Bobby Flay, and he's like, no, I'm making Mexican. I'm like, no, Bobby, I had to. He was making spaghetti.
He's like, "I'm gonna make you the meal that he was gonna make,
Yeah.
but I'm just not as good at it."
that's actually a very Bobby Flay thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
I don't know. I think
But they're so good. They're so good at this.
Yeah.
It's what they know how to do with a company. They know in the console. They know what's going on. It's just it's all the lights are on, all the bells
that's
are
the thing,
ringing. I
is that
think.
they haven't made a game on this console, so that's why it's just really interesting to see as much as they pulled out of the PS3, what are they going to do with the PS4?
Yeah.
And so that's why you're expecting it to be even greater.
Do you feel like we know too much? Like
No.
I mean,
No.
No.
I
We don't
feel like
even
we
know
know
when
very
Sully
little.
dies.
no, not about the game, but about everything else.
Or when
behind the
Drake
game.
dies.
Like
Oh, do
everything
you mean
else,
about-
everything else behind the game.
about those
Probably.
five,
like
Probably,
when I
yeah.
when I think about our perspectives versus say the people like that don't even go on the internet to look at gaming stuff, they're just going to go to the store one day, find Uncharted 4 on the shelf, and be like, "I loved 3. I'm going to play that." And they don't need to know all the stuff about development. They don't need to know all of these crazy like who's writing it, who's rewriting it, who used to star in it. Doesn't matter.
Can we make a side bet?
sure.
I bet that Drake is not the player character for the entire game.
Ooh, that's a good
Your
bet.
brother maybe.
That's a good bet, Ian.
Because why else would they have called the other ones the Nathan Drake collection? I think the Thief's End is Drake. He's either the bad guy or you don't play as him the whole time in this game. I think we're being faked out the whole.
They're
Doing MGS2?
they're really tricky with those titles. I don't know that we can make any kind of bet. They have multiple
But
meanings.
Nathan Drake collection being the first 3, that's weird.
Yeah.
I'll take the bet, Ian.
Nice.
I'll say you're Nathan Drake for the entire game. For what can we do a percentage? Because you might have like one chapter where you're like,
Yeah,
oh, you're
maybe you
clearly
play
now.
as Elena for a second or
You
whatever.
do got the multiplayer.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
character models are in there. They're all playable.
Yeah.
They're clearly interested in
I
the
mean,
co-op
I'm
stuff.
saying that like significant portion of the story.
Okay, I'll take
You're
that
not
bet.
Drake.
I'll take that side bet.
Cool.
All right.
Fascinating.
Meaning that you oppose him, or you just think that's
No,
gonna
I
happen?
think Drake will be there most of the game, and Ian thinks it'll be a little switcheroo.
I mean,
which
he's
don't
going to
think.
factor in heavily, obviously.
Yeah. I don't think there'll be a switcheroo. I don't think there'll be a Halo 5
Yeah.
where most of the game is your lock. You know,
I guess what I'm banking on is like a Metal Gear Solid 2 like
Cool.
switcheroo.
I think it's a very interesting bet.
that
So
It'd
actually-
be fun.
Kind of plays into the point that I was trying to talk about, but
are you? Wait, hold on. Was that a passive aggressive
Absolutely.
point toward Ian?
he does that to me all the time.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
he does that all the time.
No, he does that all the time. Anyways, the point being, if you don't know any of this drama and you just go and play the game and like things
Yeah.
happen differently, isn't that a good thing?
Oh,
If
absolutely.
they change up the pace or they do something unexpected or something like that, we might be able to attribute it to who's writing it. We might be able to attribute to drama or something like that and be like, I wonder what was behind that.
It's gonna be like Interstellar. There's gonna be articles. You know what I mean? Like it's just like here's what Steven Spielberg's Interstellar would have been. There's gonna be here's what Amy Hennig's Uncharted 4 would have been, and like
Right.
everyone's like, oh, I wish I had that one. That
Top
is
10
going to
reasons
happen
why
for sure.
this sucks and this rocks and
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah. None of that crap matters.
No
but-
question, Blair. That will happen.
Right. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I
Probably
thought you'd
enjoy
already
the-
made that point when
No.
I said my point.
Here we go.
March 23rd. Is that what you said it was?
Fourth.
24th. Dark Souls 3. Gosh, March is a huge month.
Yeah,
Skip.
March is hot.
Yeah.
Skip Dark Souls. Man, does that game have a chance to review well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What?
I mean it. I mean it.
Yes.
I think it also has a chance for
Yes.
backlash. You know what I mean?
No. It's
Okay.
gonna because Dark Souls 2 was non-Miyazaki. This
Yeah.
one's like the sauce is back, baby.
Here's the thing, though. We're calling it sauce. You know, once this is essentially the 5th game of this franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm-
But
I'm
when
a-
the sauce is legitimate and actually matters, it's good.
Sure. I think there's a chance that a lot of reviewers are just like, forgive me, I'm starting to get tired of Dark Souls. You know, can't you read that? Don't you see that
I mean,
already?
they're still giving Call of Duty good scores.
Yeah.
It's the same shit every time
It's what-
with no soul.
It has soul.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, you know, they got that guy from
Oh, they got robots and they got Kevin Spacey.
No, man.
Wow,
No.
great.
There's a scene with Starbuck from Galactica that got me in Black Ops.
I
2.
heard-
There's
I heard
there's
the
a
news
moment. There's a
story
moment.
had cool twists,
She has a
yeah.
level that is extremely emotional.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is like
that's
a very. I was like, wow, she took that actress
I can't
took me on a
remember
ride,
the
and
last
I
time a
normally
game
hate when
made me
actors are
feel
in
an
video games.
emotion.
oh my gosh. Okay, so will Dark Souls 3 make us feel emotions? Blood, you think it really will review well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're, putting a lot of time and effort in it for sure. I think it may have a chance of getting delayed.
That could be our best candidate for delay yet, actually.
Yeah. And
It will achieve the game trailer's highest score possible, 9.8.
But some of the little things have been floating about lately is that the things that we've seen, which have already been significantly different, are just kind of those are the parts that are most like what we've already played before in past games, and it's going to be radically different after that. So yeah, I'm very curious to see where it will go. I definitely understand the sense of okay, the little bit of fatigue just because it has been like year after year after year. It's almost becoming a yearly thing.
Yeah.
And so I would hope that they're taking the time to make sure that they make this the best game that they can and not just like on a schedule because Bandai Namco wants them to put a game out.
They do. Bandai Namco needs this.
I appreciate a yearly oasis in the desert of mediocrity that is all other games.
No, but
No.
Every other game is the same.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't
these are
like.
good.
I pretty much don't like anything going yearly.
Yeah. It's risky. It's very
I
risky.
mean, yeah, they should take the time they need.
And I hope, you know what? Let's hope for a delay on that one. Let's hope for it.
But what if they don't need it? Then just give us the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all games should not be on a schedule. They should just be like, this game is done now. Here you go.
We are definitely over schedule, but we still have to do, well, you're the one who started this conversation. Now with
See, it
no
didn't
peaks.
peak.
We gotta
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
nice.
Can you do
Gotcha.
that first one? That first one's a doozy.
Okay.
Do a short one.
Okay, we got a little shorty here. This comes from Tregard. Thought exercise. Let's say as part of Nintendo's big business shift, you are tasked with one specific task: rebranding and bringing back the Nintendo Power line for a modern audience. You cannot give up, as Reggie and Bill will be disappointed in you. What do you do and why? How do we bring back Nintendo Power?
You got to bring back those comics, man. The comics they had for alongside of Link to the Past and Super Metroid
Star Fox.
and Star Fox. Yeah.
Oh, like they're all like canon. They all like flesh out the story between this. Between
I wouldn't
the
say
games.
any of those were canon. But
They weren't canon. No, they're definitely not canon, actually. But that kind of idea, like They are really interesting because they make those worlds feel more complete.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like another character that Samus interacted with, and I remember one of the coolest moments was the end of Link to the Past, and it was like years later, and Link was in this awesome armor and stuff, and they were like looking at the Master Sword after he had put it back, and it was just kind of got vines growing on it again. It was just like, it was a really cool little moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely bring those guys back.
Matt Blair, what are you doing to bring back Nintendo Power?
App.
Oh God, no,
App.
no,
App. Straight
no,
up.
no,
Yep.
no,
Yep.
Yeah.
no,
Yep.
no.
Yes.
Reggie's already shaking
We're
his
doing
head.
this.
You'd have
Okay,
no.
what is this app? What is the app?
What do you mean Reggie's shaking his head when Nintendo's talking about apps for the last 2 years?
And it's taken 2 years to make one.
Well, maybe they're taking their time to do it right, or
Okay,
they
so
don't
what
have
is
a really
what,
great idea.
What is the Nintendo Power app?
I love the comic idea.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of it. Like
Okay, that's a component of the app.
Original content on
Yeah.
a regular basis through all of your franchises that people are clamoring for. That's just the lowest of hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
You have all of the staff they've hired for Treehouse, like putting up content like on a regular basis. I don't really know how
Those people are
frequently.
busy.
They're doing a lot of stuff on YouTube. They just did the Split Tournament thing.
Yeah. I do like their YouTube stuff right now.
So between all the stuff they're doing, being available on the app, being able to watch and get your notifications and things like that, the whole thing about Nintendo is that it's very siloed off in its own world. All their franchises don't touch much of anything else, right? So be the one place that you can go to get all that the stuff that you love, the stuff that you want. And then through that sort of weird membership, whether it be free, hopefully it would be free, then you start getting maybe download codes. You get themes for your 3DS because you're subscribing on you have the app installed. And just all that extra stuff that they've kind of just put out there and put on paper but never really executed very well, tie it all into one thing. Forget putting games on this thing because I don't want to play Mario.
I've heard
on
this
it.
so many times though. I've heard just like on our app, everything all in one, and that like fails all for every single
but
time.
it's because they lack the content. Like Nintendo has this so like dogmatic, centralized pillar of content that everybody actually loves, and it's the only reason they've ever sold hardware, is because of the awesome franchises that they have that no one else
basically
does.
did this app.
How's the Square app doing?
It's terrible.
Because you don't want to have everybody have to go just to your app. You want to be where everybody else is already.
There's so
Right,
much
but
stuff
if you
in that
have,
app.
If you have the design right and you say this is Nintendo Power, it is the Nintendo Power app. It's back. It's all the things you used to love about Nintendo Power. It's a whole bunch of awesome things
Guides.
about the way we're going. You can
Previews.
put anything you want into it, but that's the important thing.
Here's an
is just
idea.
getting an app.
With the Nintendo account that's coming, like if you're reading an article about a game, you can just click on it and get to the game and have it download on your 3DS or your NX or whatever.
I mean, if they have achievements on the NX or whatever that you unlock, and a bonus could be a background for your phone that unlocks automatically. You just go into the app, click yes, make this my background. You
Brandon,
can take screenshots and make them your backgrounds on your phone. Just anything like that. There's a lot of cool things that you could explore with an app.
Brandon, please give me a suggestion that doesn't make me furious.
Don't do that. You don't do anything with
my
Nintendo
goodness.
Power. You're
So what
done.
is it? What's your Nintendo Power?
There's no Nintendo Power. You're done.
Oh my God! Oh God!
You don't.
You're making me angry too.
Xbox has Xbox Live. PlayStation has PlayStation Network. Wii needs a freaking online service.
It's coming.
Yeah, and then that's going to last for a year. Nintendo Power, if they were to bring that back, sounds like something that would be around for like a year and a half, and then they would get rid of it, and then they would start a new thing. And it's like, you need to stop doing that. Like, if you're actually going to be ingrained, you need to have an app or some kind of online system that tracks my games, that tracks everything on 3DS and on NX and on Wii U and on the Wii and all my purchases. Don't make me purchase Super Mario Brothers every 5 years. Like, I'm a broken record with this. It's just like, I don't know why.
Oh, well, that's what the Nintendo account's all about. But yeah,
it seems like Nintendo should be ahead of everyone on this. Like, more than anyone else in the video game industry. Like, they have just these characters that people love. This whole, like this legacy that they're just like policing in just weird ways. It's like Disney. Like, this DVD's going back in the vault. Like, what are you? What? Why isn't it in the vault? Why isn't it?
Are you going to criticize Disney for that
Scarcity.
excellent business plan right now? Yeah,
It worked for them for a long time,
And
but
it still does.
It is not. It is just not the era that we're going into. Like,
I totally think it does. When they're just like Aladdin's on Blu-ray, people go nuts and tweet
they're
about
not
it.
going to do it. It's like HBO sticking to the subscription service. Like, they buckled eventually. There's like, okay, fine, you can just get Game of Thrones now. It's like Disney eventually is just going to have to like, okay, we can't do that anymore.
Nintendo's whole thing is living in the past and like resting on their laurels and doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Nintendo Power does not sound like a solve to any situation.
That's
to
not
anything
their
that
whole thing.
ills
Oh, it's
Nintendo.
not.
That's their whole thing.
It's the opposite. They don't rest on their
Can we
laurels.
stop doing this show?
Yeah, all right.
Jesus.
Nintendo Power is a secret series of concerts. You have to know somebody to get in, and at the end of the year...
I also read EGM, so...
Okay. Me too. Yeah, I always, like, Nintendo Power the magazine, like compared to EGM, is just like kind of like childish. Don't do that with the new Nintendo
But
Power.
props to Nintendo Power for having a severed head of Dracula on the front cover. Well done.
Yeah, for that one time.
Yep.
And then you became a little soft. So don't make it soft, Nintendo Power. Be hard. Okay, time for bets. Ian, can we get into the vault? Thank you very much. So Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out tomorrow. Comes out on Friday. At this point next week, how many customer reviews will there be on Amazon.com for Xenoblade Chronicles X? Brandon, your first to reveal.
20.
20?
Is that a lot?
No, that's 20 people, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's a big game. I think everyone's just going to be
I
playing
think
it.
there's gonna be 489
Holy
people
crap.
giving customer reviews. Matt Blair
76.
and Daniel Bloodworth.
Pretty close, 60.
60. Let me
Whatever that is.
lock those in.
Nice.
20. I'm insulted by it. So
They're
let's talk
probably
about-
already like the second it
You
goes
said in
live,
a week.
they're going to
You
be
said it's coming out now
hundreds.
and going a week. And I
Yeah.
looked at games that came out last week, and the numbers weren't high.
You think
Okay.
people wait to finish a game before
I-
they go, this game is garbage?
No, but I don't think
Revenge?
Xenoblade's that kind of game. I think Xenoblade's like a real fan thing. I don't think people are just gonna like, stumble across Xenoblade. You know, like the only
Yeah.
people playing Xenoblade are people like, yes, Xenoblade, and like they're not gonna like rush to the internet to like.
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
gonna-
I
they're gonna-
looked at some
They're gonna
other-
they're gonna surface out of their sheets in like 2 weeks and like
Similar.
go back. to
I've
the
looked at
internet.
some similar niche games and where they're at now.
Oh,
you
not
know?
cool. It's not a niche game. No, it's not.
It is a niche game.
Oh boy.
It
This is
shouldn't
like
be a
the most
niche game.
of all time.
Yeah, I think it might be a little niche. Might be a little niche. I'm
But
glad
is
we
it
don't say
niche?
niche. I'm glad we don't say niche here.
I was just going to say niche.
We're a niche group here.
Niche.
So
How do you
let's-
say accoutrement?
accoutrement?
Accoutrements.
Arrivederci.
I need some accoutrements. We're going to
Accoutrements.
Oregon.
Last week, Bloodborne, the old hunter, released. The old
one.
hunters.
It's plural?
Yes, yes, yes. Where there's multiple
Bossman?
hunters, of course. This is funny. This was actually 2 weeks ago we had this episode, and I said at this point next week, 2 days after its release, what will be its highest trophy percentage for any of the new trophies. Obviously, it was Thanksgiving. I forgot to go look at the trophies. Incidentally, it doesn't matter. Here's how the votes shook out. Ben in the Super Seat bet 78.4%. Blood bet 80. Jones bet 25. I bet 31.3%. As of last night, the highest trophy percentage was 4.8%.
What? I knew it. Whoa.
Wow.
Yes. Here's the mistake we all made.
I didn't make any mistake at all
Okay, well, you're still way off.
because I was the first to go this week. Which means I was last to go in the last episode.
Yeah,
So I
but-
saw everybody do high numbers, and I was like, no, it's not. I'm going.
No,
I'm going
that's not
last.
how that works. We're supposed to write down our scores so they can't affect us.
Oh, that's right. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so
Wait a minute.
I retract. Official retraction.
J'accuse!
No corrections needed.
I sense a point penalty coming on here.
so it accounts for everyone who owns Bloodborne in the DLC trophies. So even if you didn't buy the old hunters, you're still part of that small percentage, and so that's why it ran so low.
Gosh.
Yep.
Because nobody
so
finishes
happy.
games anymore.
Well, nobody buys that $20 DLC, maybe.
There's a possibility I could get to double digits before the end of the year.
Oh my
I'm not gonna win it. I'm not gonna win anything at all.
So let's say where we're at right
Get to
now.
10.
The current score is again Super Seat 15, Blood 15. Jones now has 8. I have 11.
I think this is the most I've ever had on GT Time.
Yeah. You're really making a rally here at the end of the year. So Brandon Jones, what you've won with your you knew it excellent bet is. Okay, write down all
I forget
all
it
your
all.
rewards.
I forget
Okay.
it all.
First of all, you get the last word. Anything
Rarely
you
happens.
disagreed with that was spoken aloud in this podcast, you may now have the last word on. No one can refute it. You get to promote any video you want on GameTrailers.com. You get to tell everyone. You have the rights and responsibility to tell everyone what your Twitter handle is, and then of course you sign off with your trademark sign off.
I got a trademark sign. What's not my trademark sign off? It's someone's trademark sign off.
Okay. Well,
It is a trademark sign off. My Twitter is GameTrailersVO. I strongly recommend you watch my Just Cause 3 review, which came out yesterday.
And again,
What
Brandon
days of the week? Couple days ago.
edits these
Monday.
himself.
Written and edited by myself. I'm very happy about the ending. The ending worked out really well. I had 2 shots I was able to put together. But,
Okay.
I enjoyed.
You also did not play that in a dev environment. Those are your own shots.
Oh yeah, some people were just like, those are clearly canned animations or something. I was like, nope, that's me.
So the animations are that good
I
that people
set, I
thought it was
set
all
up that
faked.
C4 and then wingsuited around the structure as it blew
They thought
up.
he was in
Oh,
like
okay.
God mode or something to get the shots.
Not true. Brandon's a player.
A 7.0 is an excellent game. You should purchase it. May the force be with you. 2 weeks left. In case I don't get to win again before the 18th.
I love.